Clay Farm Tutorial Part 2. Right, so if you haven't watched Part 1 yet, I encourage you to do so. The link is down in the description and also up there top right of your screen in the info cards. Go watch it before you watch this one. If you have and you are here for the second part, then welcome. So sorry I couldn't post it last week. I was busy with a lot of stuff. I got sick, Vapors and PC Season 2 started. By the way, the first stream is up on Twitch already. And a lot of IRL stuff, university stuff. But here we are now, and we're gonna start with the tutorial again. So let's go. So if you remember from last part, we divided this farm into 4 sections. The first 2 are already built here. The first one is the generator, the second one is the TNT dupers and blast chamber for the logs. The next one would be the clay generator, mud generator, and the blast chamber for both. And the fourth one would be the Bonemeal farm. So we're gonna start with this one first, and then we're gonna move on with the Bonemeal farm. They shouldn't be too difficult, too hard to do. So this video shouldn't be as long as the other one. Alright, so the first bit that we're gonna build is the brown bit, and as you can see we had already started it from, or in the last video. It's for the mod makers, and some of you were asking me in the previous design, in the video of the previous design, how to build them. They are the same for both designs, they're super easy, so hopefully this helps. I'm gonna build the second one here, the first one is already here. Notice how the piston is touching this block, so for the second one we're gonna have the same but touching this one now. We're gonna place a piston there, then an observer facing downward into a node block. Notice how the node block is next to that glass block so that the redstone dust doesn't interfere with it. Then we're gonna place another observer on top of this last observer facing into a piston, and we're gonna place 2 more observers reading that top observer, then and the node block facing that way. We're gonna place a temporary block here below this observer, and then 3 droppers facing upward just like so, and finally 1 facing in the same direction as the observers. It's gonna have a dispenser on its face, but we're not gonna place it just yet. We're gonna come down here now, and we're gonna place a hopper fitting into this dropper like this, and another one here, and finally a third hopper facing into that hopper that we have down below this observer. Then we're gonna grab a wall block, we're gonna place it right here, we're gonna place a rail as well, a temporary block here, and a dispenser facing into the rail. We're gonna place a hopper minecart on top of the rail, and then we're gonna step on it so that we can push it against the wall. Once we have done that, we can now remove the rail. We're gonna grab a stair block, we're gonna place a temporary block here, stair block right here. Notice how it's facing into where the droppers are. We're gonna place a temporary piston here at the top, right like so, and we're gonna push the stair block down. Now we can waterlog it, and as you can see the water will be fully contained in that single block. Then we're gonna place 3 more hoppers here fitting into this dispenser, 2 like this and 1 facing or fitting into this hopper just like so. Then we can place a composter right there, a wall right here, and a rail on top of this hopper just like so. It should look something like this. Then we're gonna place also a minecart with a hopper, push it against the wall, and this time we're gonna leave the rail there. We can now place the dispenser facing this way right next to that dropper, and finally an observer facing this way into the dropper, into the composter, sorry, on top of the stair block. And those are the mod makers. We now have to grab just a few water bottles and a lot of empty bottles. We're gonna fill this dispenser with empty bottles. Then the hopper right here, we're gonna place 4 water bottles and a stack of empty bottles. In this hopper the same, and in this third hopper the same. And in the hopper minecart that we have here on top, we're also gonna place the 4 water bottles, but only half a stack of empty bottles just like so. And the mod makers are done. The next part will turn the mod into clay, and it's super easy, it's the yellow bit. We're gonna start here from the mod makers, from the dispenser. We're gonna place a line of blocks of 6 blocks going that way. I'm using glass blocks, but any full block that can hold some pointed dripstone here at the bottom will work. And whatever we do on this side, we're gonna mirror on this other side. So we're gonna place the 6 blocks, we're gonna leave a gap here in the corner and turn and place 3 more blocks facing this way or going this way. Here in the gap we're gonna place a redstone torch attached to a glass block with a redstone dust on top of it. This redstone dust will power this solid block, and this solid block has two normal pistons facing that way, one on top and one on the bottom, and then this one on the side that will push the blocks into this platform. This platform has 9 blocks on this direction and then 13 blocks on this direction, and as you can see, all of the blocks have a pointed dripstone below them. Then we're gonna remove this corner block right here to place a redstone torch like that. And then on this very same line, we're gonna remove also this block. This was a suggestion by Basil Wallace, so thank you very much. This is just so that if the mud turns into clay in this very block, the observer won't read it and then the farm breaks. So now it cannot turn to anything in this block. Anyways, coming back to here where the redstone torch is, we're gonna leave a gap here, an air gap, and then next to it we're gonna place a note block. I'm using carpets on top of them so that we remove its sound. We're gonna read that note block with an observer facing into a line of solid blocks of 10 blocks long. The 9 blocks that are not an observer, we're gonna fill them with a normal piston facing that way, pushing the blocks all the way to the other side where we have our conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is super easy. We're gonna have the observer here reading the block that we remove, facing into a solid block, then 2 redstone dust, a repeater on 3 ticks, then a solid block, and from that we'll have 9 repeaters on 2 ticks facing that way into the void, basically being read by an observer each facing upward into a solid block. Next to the observers we have sticky pistons facing that way, then on top of the sticky pistons we have note blocks with the respective carpet. Those note blocks are being read by observers facing also that way, and below the observers we have some pistons facing into the middle, and we of course just mirror the same on this other side. To get the blocks out of the conveyor belt and into the blast chamber, we're gonna build 2 more pushers, one on either end for each conveyor belt. And as you can see, they are the same design as we did with the yellow ones, just pointing this way this time. And in front of them, we're gonna have 5 more blocks with their respective dripstone at the bottom. Then diagonally, we're gonna build the pushers. So we're gonna have it diagonally, and 1 block lower. We start with 7 pistons facing into the blast chamber like this. Then some solid blocks at the back. We're gonna cover 6 of them with some redstone dust, and then the last one will have the redstone dust here on the side, as you can see. Facing into that solid block from the last one, we're also gonna have a repeater on 1 tick, getting its power from this diagonal 2 blocks with some redstone dust on top of them. Now if we come to the other side, just so that you can see it a little bit better, we can start building the rest of it. So here on top of this last piston, we're gonna have a sticky piston just like this. In front of it, we're gonna have 2 more solid blocks, just like so. Then we're gonna have a normal piston on top of the sticky piston. Then we're gonna have a glass block right on top of this block, and a solid block on top of that one. We're gonna cover this glass block with some redstone, and also this block. From this redstone dust, we're gonna place a solid block with a sticky piston on top, and then another solid block right here on its face. And as you can see from this redstone dust, we're gonna have another solid block here coming up, and then right next to it 7 more pistons facing downward with some redstone dust at the top. If we come here to the other side, we're now gonna place a redstone dust here next to this redstone torch, just like so. Then we're gonna have a normal piston right next to it, a solid block right on top of it, another normal piston, and then a normal piston facing into those 2 blocks that we placed for the sticky piston, just like so. This is just to push the blocks back. And then we're gonna come down here and place a redstone torch, just like so, and next to it a redstone dust, and as you can see, it will get powered. And those are the pushers to push the blocks to the middle to be blasted. And then diagonally from this block, or actually next to this block and then diagonally, we're gonna start our areas of pistons that will push down the blocks. So as you can see, they are 3 by 7. We start with 1, we leave a gap, and then we do another 3 by 7. And in the gap in the middle here, we're gonna place 3 obsidian blocks here on either end, and in the middle just a sign, just like so. And finally, to blast the clay and mud, it is super easy. We are gonna make our TNT duper. It's the same design as the other ones that we did over there. The only changes are this repeater has to be set to 2 ticks instead of 4. The inputting of the signal is through this observer right here and this redstone line that we have connected from the pistons down here. As you can see, it goes up. The composter is also at level 4, so that's the same. TNT duper, exactly the same. And finally, the piston down here, instead of having a trapdoor, it has a full block. And also we don't need the obsidian for this one, so that's good as well. And finally, to power these pistons, we are gonna connect these observers to the very block here at the corner, and as you can see, it will power them to push the blocks downward. We have one on either side, and this observer goes up because of the sticky piston and powers this block that we have here next to the redstone. So pretty simple stuff. And finally, for the collection down here, we have 12 blocks that we are counting here from the sign. And yeah, I'm just gonna remove them. On the 13th block, we place a wall, and 1 block lower, we place an area that's 5 blocks on either direction, or on all directions from this wall. In the corners, we just place 3 more blocks like this, and then we encase it all in a glass wall. And finally, we place some water on all 4 corners, just like so. And all of the items should be funneled down here to the middle. And with that last blue and the black bits, we are done with the farm. We are just missing to build the Bonemeal farm here at the side, which shouldn't be too hard. We're gonna start with the wiring, so we're gonna come down here to the lamp with the lever that we have, and we're gonna count 15 redstone dust all the way to here. Next to the 15th one, we're gonna place a solid block, repeater, solid block, then 12 more but facing that way or going that way, then solid block, repeater going this way to the farm, and into a solid block with the redstone dust on top of it. Next to the redstone dust, we're gonna place a comparator reading it on subtract mode facing that way. We're gonna place 2 repeaters on 4 ticks, also facing that way, sorry. Then a redstone dust to the side, and then 2 more repeaters, one on 4 ticks and another one on 3 ticks facing that way into a redstone dust that will connect back to the comparator. Then here to the right, we're gonna place 4 more redstone dust, and here on the left, we're gonna place 5 more redstone dust. Both of these lines are going into a little circuit that we have here. Both sides are exactly the same, so we're gonna build one and then mirror it on the other side. So first of all, the redstone will go into a target block with a sticky piston right under it. Then repeater on 1 tick facing into a slime block with another sticky piston right under it. Then next to the slime block, we're gonna place an observer facing upward. We're coming back to the target block. We're gonna place a repeater facing that way on 4 ticks into a solid block that will connect with a redstone dust to another solid block and another 3rd solid block. As you can see, it's like a little pyramid that we're doing. All 3 will be covered with some redstone dust. Then comparator here below the middle one. And then from the middle one, we're gonna get a repeater, solid block, and another repeater out, facing into a redstone line. This is a long redstone line, but basically to that side, we're gonna add 13 redstone dust, counting from this one right here. Notice how it's the side that faces the mud makers, or the clay makers. Then the middle one, and then we're gonna count from here to there, 14 redstone dust. So 13 this way, middle, 14 this way. Right next to the middle one, we're gonna place a sticky piston, and to the left, we're gonna place another one. As I said, we mirror this exactly the same way on the other side. 13 that way, 14 that way, plus the middle one and the pistons. As you can see, it's to the right. Alright, to continue the redstone or the wiring, it's super easy. We're gonna come down here to where we just placed our redstone dust, and we're gonna place target blocks right next to it, facing into where the clock is. Then we're gonna place redstone torches on top of them, and then to the side of them. And the ones at the side, we're gonna cover them with some solid blocks, and we're gonna cover the ones here at the top and also the solid blocks with some sticky pistons facing upward. As you can see, we also mirror that on the other side. And then we're gonna come here to the center where we have the 2 pistons that we placed in the last step. We're gonna place some target blocks on top of them. Then we're gonna place 2 repeaters, one on 2 ticks and the other one on 4 ticks. Notice how the one on 4 ticks is closer to the clay farm. Then we're gonna place solid blocks in front of them with some redstone dust. We're gonna go up here on the side, also closer to the farm. We're gonna go up again, turning to the right, and then we're gonna turn to the right again and go up once more. We're gonna cover those blocks with some redstone dust. Then we're gonna place another block here with a repeater facing into the bone meal farm as well. Then we're gonna place a sticky piston here on top of this redstone. Notice how it's the first one that goes up from the repeaters. Then we're gonna place an observer on top of that sticky piston facing upward as well, just like so. And we're gonna mirror it on the other side. Notice how both of the observers are aligned. So yeah, be careful not to place it on this side. But yeah, it should look something like this. And finally, from this repeater, we're gonna take a redstone line. Actually, let's stack the things up. There we go. We're gonna place a redstone line here in front of the repeater. It has to be the same length as the one that we have below. Then in front of the blocks that hold this redstone line, we're gonna place sticky pistons facing into the farm, then normal pistons also facing into the farm, and they should touch with their face the arms of the sticky pistons that we placed earlier. Okay, so the next part is a little bit tricky, so bear with me. We have to come here to where the clock is. We're gonna count 1 redstone dust here from where the repeaters end to the right. And then on the second one, we're gonna place a glass block. We're gonna do the same on the left, so 1. And on the second one, we're gonna place a glass block on the other side of the redstone line, just like so. Then we're gonna place 2 glass blocks here on top of this redstone that has the glass next to it. Sorry. Then we're gonna place a dropper facing into the glass right here after this air gap, or on top of this air gap. The same on the other side, so we're kind of mirroring it. Then we're gonna place 3 glass blocks here at the opposite side of the dropper, 2 on top of the dropper. We mirror it on the other side. We place then a comparator reading the dropper facing into an observer that will read the comparator. Below the observer, we're gonna place a sticky piston facing upward, and then another observer facing into this glass block on top of this comparator, and we mirror it on the other side. Then we're gonna count 13 blocks, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 13 blocks from this glass block right here. So starting from here, 1 to 13, and on the 14th block we're gonna place another glass block, and we're gonna do exactly the same as we did over there. We're gonna place the 2 glass blocks here in front, 3 glass blocks here, dropper, and 2 glass blocks on the opposite side. Then comparator reading it, this time facing into the other comparator, just like so. Then sticky piston, observer, and observer facing the opposite way, facing or powering this glass block right here, and we mirror it on the other side. We can now remove these blocks. The water streams might be a little confusing the way I did them, but the only thing that you need to know is that you need to connect these dispensers with water sources. I left one here unused so that you can see. So we just placed 2 water sources right here. Keep in mind that we need one of these modules for the moss spreaders every 5 blocks, or with a 5 block gap in between each other, and they're done like this. So as you can see, we have this one, we leave a 5 block gap, and here we place a node block, dispenser facing upward, hopper facing into it right here where the water will be, dagger block here on top, piston, and moss block. And once you've done that, you can place your 3rd water source, and as you can see, it connects to the other ones. This is just for the bone meal to go around and refill the hoppers and everything, and in the end it will go back to the farm. So yeah, as long as all the water streams connect with each other and all the bone meal can flow through, then it is fine. Also notice how on this side we have 1 block of offset with the water and the dispensers, whether in this one it's directly in the same block. Now for the hoppers down here, we're just gonna have to place 2 hoppers, 1 pointing into each of these dispensers, and then put a line of hoppers going into those line of hoppers again, or into those 2 hoppers. And the same for these dispensers. Once we get to these dispensers, we place 2 more hoppers like this, and then all hoppers pointing that way so that we can connect them all together. And then we just place composters at the top, and finally a row of hoppers fitting into those composters. Another thing that I forgot to mention is all of these target blocks are connected with these 2 redstone lines, and as you can see, the only one that is not a normal block and it's an obsidian is the one that goes on top of this slime block. Same on the other side, we have the obsidian here on top of the slime block, and they all connect to the target blocks. And then after you've placed the composters and the hoppers pointing into them, you can place barrels on top of this line of hoppers, the one that is away from the farm, and then just hoppers facing into those barrels on top of the other line of hoppers. So we just stack these 27, there we go. And then we're gonna proceed to place some stone. To place the stone is super easy, so we just need a glass block layer here at the bottom of the pistons. I'm just gonna do this with commands. There we go. Don't forget to remove the glass wherever we have the moss so that we can have the air gaps on top of them. And then we covered the glass and also the gaps of the moss with some stone. Just like so. Also, I just realized these barrels should also be covered in stone, so I will do that real quick. Just like so. And then we're gonna cover this bit with some walls of glass. So I'm just gonna do this, there we go, same on the other side. And then we're gonna cover these sticky pistons and pistons with 2 observers in this formation. So on top of the sticky piston, 1 observer facing upward, and then 1 observer reading it facing into the farm, just like this. And we just cover all of them like so. Same on the other side, by the way. Next, grab some trapdoors and go to here where the edge of the stone is, and place them facing into the farm, just like so, all the way over the stone. Same on the other side, facing into the farm, and place the trapdoors. These are gonna be waterlogged trapdoors. If you want to waterlog them already, do so. And then we come back here, we close this off, and then cover these observers facing upward with some glass blocks. We're almost done, guys. The only thing that we need to do is finish up the wiring and put the lava in. So to finish up the wiring, we're gonna place a block on top of this redstone dust next to the observer, temporary block here, 2 blocks to either side, there we go, a repeater on 1 tick, just like so, then a sticky piston facing this way, so toward the blast chamber, then redstone block here in front, temporary block, 2 more blocks like so, 2 redstone dust facing into a block, and then a redstone torch, and finally we place a line of redstone here below the redstone torch from end to end of the farm. And as you can see, if we move the redstone block here, all of the trapdoors will close and allow the moss to spread, and then whenever we have done so, the water will break all of the moss and funnel it to the middle. The last thing to do is cover all of these observers with lava buckets, just like so, and as you can see, it eventually will form a lot of stone here where the water is. And finally, we place some signs on top of these hoppers. This is the most tedious task of the farm, but it shouldn't be too bad to do. And now, guys, you congratulate yourselves for a job well done, because the farm is finally done. I hope the tutorial wasn't too bad. It is a different style of tutorial. Hopefully it was helpful for you. I tried my best, and so sorry for the delay. I had so much things to do IRL, so I could only record until now, or at least finish recording, because this took me about 2 weeks to record part 2. Anyways, a few considerations before running the farm. You need to fill these dispensers and hoppers from the Bonemeal farm or off the Bonemeal farm with some Bonemeal. Once you do so, you gotta leave the Bonemeal farm only running for a few hours until this hopper right here is full of Bonemeal. That would mean all of the other hoppers and dispensers are full of Bonemeal because they're connected all to that little hopper. To only run the Bonemeal farm and not the main farm, you only place a redstone torch right here, and as you can see, the Bonemeal farm will start running. Of course, we don't have any Bonemeal in the hoppers just yet and the dispensers, so it won't do nothing, but you can see it working kinda already. We now remove that. Here we go. Once this is full of Bonemeal, then you can flick this lever and enjoy of your production. Also, we don't have specifically a collection system for this, Right now, all of the logs are falling right here. Logs, azalea bushes, sticks, seeds, and all of the things that you can get from those are falling through this wall right here. And also the moss byproducts that we are producing here are falling through this wall right here. So in case you want to sort them out, just place a hopper down there and a line of hoppers that will go into a sorting system. And all of the clay and mud blocks are falling through this wall right here, so just place a few chests or sorting system down there. And that should be it for the farm. To turn off the mod makers, we just flick this lever, and as you can see, it powers this piston so that they cannot update these observers again. Once you do that though, it's gonna take a little while for them to turn off, because they will have still some water bottles in the system. So give it a few more blocks, and then you will start seeing your rooted dirt coming through without being turned into mud. Other than that, I think that's it for the tutorial. Hopefully you liked it. So sorry again for the delay on part 2. But yeah, if you liked this video, if you found it useful, if you built the farm, let me know down in the comments what was your experience with it, if you liked the video, of course. And don't forget to leave the like and also subscribe if you want to see more content like this one. Anyways, goodbye guys, it has been a long week. So I just want to go to bed. So anyways guys, goodbye. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and yeah, bye bye.